Ukraine STELs Russian brand new Tu-160 and turns it into a useless asset before it ever flies.
(2:17 a.m. Engels 2 Air Base. Look at the Tu-160. This is the same bomber Russia once flew to Venezuela to intimidate the world, but that image did not last. The United States had already exposed a key weakness. The aircraft is large, loud, and easy to track. Its survival depends on protection, not stealth. Tonight, Ukraine acts on that reality. Within 90 seconds, low-flying attack drones reach the base and strike critical areas around the bomber's engine intake, forcing a severe thermal failure. At the same time, a nearby storage site holding around 60 Kh-101 cruise missiles is hit. Direct drone impacts ignite fuel inside the facility, triggering a chain reaction that wipes out a major part of Russia's winter strike plans. This is not chance. It is a coordinated drone operation using low-cost systems and decoys, while S-400 units engage targets in the wrong airspace. This is not about a single explosion. It is about turning a symbol of power into a strategic liability. If you want clear, step-by-step analysis of how operations like this actually work, subscribe to the channel and stay with us. Engels 2 Air Base is located deep inside Russian territory and is normally considered secure. It is far from the front line and protected by multiple layers of air defense. However, security depends not only on weapons, but also on logistics and timing. About 30 to 36 hours before the strike, a new Tu-160M strategic bomber arrived at the base after a transfer flight. During routine post-flight checks, ground crews identified technical issues related to the aircraft's engine and control systems. The problems were not severe, but they required immediate inspection and limited testing. The bomber was parked on an open hard stand on the north side of the base. The aircraft remained there for approximately 18 to 20 hours. During that time, it did not move, and ground activity around it was minimal. Its position was fully exposed and easy to track. At the same base, located roughly 400 to 450 meters from the bomber, was a storage area containing around 50 to 60 Kh-101 cruise missiles. These missiles were already fueled and assigned to upcoming winter operations. They were not in long-term storage and were expected to be deployed within weeks. Russian air defenses were active. S-400 systems covered high-altitude threats, while Panzer systems protected the immediate perimeter. However, these systems were configured for traditional attack profiles. Ukraine monitored the situation over time. They did not act immediately. When the aircraft remained parked and the missiles stayed in place, the opportunity became clear. By the time night arrived, both sides were facing a different situation. Russia believed the base was secure, while Ukraine saw a temporary but critical vulnerability. Shortly after 2:05 a.m., Ukrainian activity begins to register on Russian sensors. A small group of drones appears at medium altitude, flying predictable routes at roughly 600 to 700 kilometers per hour. These contacts are easy to see and easy to classify. Russian operators treat them as long-range threats and respond according to standard procedure. S-400 units are placed on full alert. Tracking radars lock on. Several interceptor missiles are launched. Each interceptor costs millions of dollars, while the incoming drones cost a fraction of that. Within minutes, radar operators see multiple confirmed intercepts. From their perspective, the threat has been neutralized. A second group of drones moves in at very low altitude, below 50 meters. Their speed is slower, around 120 to 150 kilometers per hour, but their flight path keeps them below the strongest radar coverage. Terrain, buildings, and background noise reduce detection range to just a few kilometers. As these drones approach the base, responsibility shifts to short-range defenses. Panzer S-1 systems activate and begin scanning. At the same time, electronic interference from earlier interceptions and natural ground clutter make identification harder. Operators are forced to react quickly with incomplete information. The key decision is made here. Russian crews assume that any surviving threat is aimed at the Tu-160M, the most valuable asset on the base. defensive focus tightens around the aircraft parking area. Weapons are oriented to protect the bomber. Air defenses are active. Missiles are firing. And attention is concentrated in one direction. Other areas receive less coverage, not because they are forgotten, but because time and sensors are limited. Ukraine is waiting for exactly this moment. Quick question for you. If you were defending this base, which would you prioritize? The aircraft or what it carries? In the next chapter, the answer becomes clear when the real strike begins. At 2:17 a.m., the main strike begins. Russian air defenses are active, but their attention is fixed on the aircraft area. At the same time, Ukrainian attack drones enter the base from the east, flying below 35 to 40 meters, where radar coverage is weakest. From penetration to impact, the final approach takes less than 90 seconds. The first target is the missile storage site. The facility is located about 400 meters from the parked Tu-160M and contains around 50 to 55 Kh-101 cruise missiles. These missiles are already fueled and programmed for winter operations. Each missile represents a long-range strike capability prepared weeks in advance. Multiple drones strike almost simultaneously. Initial impacts hit access points and support structures. Internal fires begin immediately. Fuel ignition follows within seconds. Temperatures rise rapidly, exceeding 2,500 degrees Celsius, causing internal systems to fail. The reinforced structure does not collapse from blast force, but from sustained heat and pressure. Missiles inside the facility begin to burn and malfunction. Guidance electronics fail first. Fuel inside several missile containers ignites. Power and communications in the surrounding area are disrupted. Personnel are forced to evacuate. Short-range defenses attempt to respond. Pantsir S-1 units engage targets at close range and destroy several drones. However, the response comes after the first impacts. The engagement window is measured in seconds, not minutes. Within 2 to 3 minutes, the storage site is no longer operational. Dozens of missiles intended for winter strikes are rendered unusable before they can be deployed. No aircraft take off. No missiles are launched. The damage is not limited to equipment. A significant portion of Russia's planned strike capacity is removed in a single event. Fire crews move toward the site, but the situation is already out of control. As fires continue to spread at the storage area, the remaining Ukrainian drones change direction. The next phase of the operation begins. With fires spreading from the missile storage area, Russian defenses shift again. Attention snaps back to the Tu-160M. Crews understand that if the bomber survives, it can still be repaired and returned to service. Emergency teams move toward the aircraft, while short-range air defenses tighten their focus around the hard stand. This is the window Ukraine has planned for. A smaller group of attack drones, which has not yet revealed itself, changes course. These drones fly even lower than the first wave, dropping below 30 meters and approaching from multiple angles. Their speed is modest, but their guidance is precise. The target is not the fuselage and not the fuel tanks. The target is the engines. The Tu-160M is powered by 4 NK-32 engines, each valued at several $1 million and built in limited numbers. Replacing even one takes months. Losing multiple engines effectively removes the aircraft from service for an entire season. The first drone strikes the intake of one engine. The impact causes an immediate internal failure. Temperatures spike rapidly as rotating components are damaged. Seconds later, a second drone hits another intake. The result is not a large external explosion, but severe internal destruction that spreads through the engine housing. Russian short-range defenses respond. Pantsir S-1 systems fire at close range and destroy several drones. Small arms fire from ground security also engages the targets, but the reaction comes too late. Within less than 2 minutes, at least 3 engines are rendered unusable. Hydraulic lines are damaged. Control systems fail. The bomber cannot taxi, cannot take off, and cannot be repaired quickly. By this point, the outcome is clear. The Tu-160M remains physically intact, but it is no longer a functioning combat aircraft. What was meant to project power across continents is now a grounded asset requiring months of work, specialized parts, and factory-level support. For Ukraine, this achieves the objective. The aircraft has not been destroyed, but it has been removed from the war. As emergency crews secure the area and air defenses continue firing into empty air, the operation enters its final phase. By 2:22 a.m., Russian command understands the situation has escalated beyond a routine air defense incident. Emergency protocols are activated across Engels 2. Ground security units move toward the hard stand. Fire crews are dispatched to the missile storage area, but they are forced to stop at a distance due to extreme heat and continuing secondary ignitions. Internal access is no longer possible. Short-range air defenses continue firing. Pantsir S-1 systems engage remaining contacts at close range, expending large amounts of ammunition in a short time. Several more drones are destroyed, but the firing is reactive rather than coordinated. The radar picture is cluttered, communications are strained, and command decisions lag behind events by critical minutes. Fighter aircraft are scrambled. Within 6 to 8 minutes, interceptors are airborne from nearby bases. By then, the drones have already completed their attack routes. There are no targets left to intercept. The damage assessment begins immediately. Roughly 50 to 60 Kh-101 cruise missiles are confirmed lost or rendered unusable. This represents a significant portion of Russia's planned long-range strike capacity for the coming weeks. At the same time, the Tu-160M is declared non-operational. At least 3 of its 4 NK-32 engines are severely damaged. Hydraulic and control systems show extensive failure. Repair timelines are revised upward. Replacing engines of this type is not a field task. Each engine requires factory-level work, specialized tooling, and months of lead time. Initial estimates place recovery at 6 to 9 months, assuming parts are available. This is the real loss. No missile is launched. No bomber takes off. Instead, a single night removes months of preparation, limits operational options, and forces immediate changes to deployment plans. Engels 2 was expected to function as a secure rear base. After this strike, that assumption no longer holds. As smoke continues to rise and emergency crews work to stabilize what remains, Russian command begins making a different set of decisions, ones that extend far beyond this airbase and into the wider campaign. By sunrise, the impact of the strike is no longer confined to Engels 2. Russian command orders an immediate change in posture. Remaining strategic bombers are dispersed to bases farther from the front. Some move more than 2,000 kilometers away. This single decision increases flight times, fuel use, and maintenance pressure. Fewer sorties can be generated, and response time to new targets slows significantly. The loss of the missile stockpile deepens the problem. With around 50 to 60 Kh-101 cruise missiles destroyed, planned winter strike schedules are revised overnight. These missiles are not easily replaced. Even under accelerated production, restoring that inventory takes months, not weeks. Until then, strike capacity is reduced. The disabled Tu-160 creates another long-term constraint. Multiple damaged NK-32 engines require factory-level repair. Initial assessments place the aircraft out of service for at least 6 months, assuming parts and specialists are available. During that time, one of Russia's newest long-range platforms contributes nothing operationally. The broader effect is strategic. Engels 2 was meant to be a secure rear base. After this attack, no base can assume safety based on distance alone. Air defenses must now be spread thinner, remain on constant alert, and protect more locations at once. Ukraine did not capture the bomber. It did something more effective. It removed strike capability, forced redeployment, and reshaped planning for the entire winter campaign without fighting a single air battle. Ukraine did not need to take the Tu-160 out of Engels 2 to win this operation. By disabling the bomber and destroying dozens of Kh-101 cruise missiles in a single night, they removed months of planning before it could be executed. A platform designed for long-range strikes became a grounded asset. A stockpile prepared for winter operations was eliminated without a single missile being launched. This strike shows how modern warfare is changing. Success is no longer defined by how much firepower is used, but by when and where it is applied. Timing, exposure, and coordination now matter more than size or cost. So here's the question for you. If you were in command, would you focus on protecting the most expensive weapon or the systems that actually make it dangerous? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more clear, step-by-step analysis of real operations like this, subscribe to the channel and stay with us.